like people should be okay with that just because it was free. Like they should be, feeling like it's okay to be jerked around. Like I don't think that's I don't know if that's the right way to look at it. But yeah, I was just legitimately schedule was super hectic and yeah, just
Imagine so. I was
you know
surprised that you were streaming like 6 hours a day during the holidays. That's insane schedule for me too.
yeah, I had a few days where I did some Christmassy stuff, but like there was also one day where I had some stuff planned, but I just I wasn't up for it. But
Hmm.
I don't have like a whole bunch of extended family and like in-laws and stuff like that. I know like
Yeah, for sure.
a guy who he's like has got like one day with like the immediate family and one day with the extended family and then one day with the in-laws and one with the extended in-laws and then one with like it's like every single day there's like somewhere he has to go and somewhere he has to plan, and he likes doing that, but it's like every single year you basically from like the 23rd of December until January 2nd you're like completely locked in,
Hmm.
and you're
No,
supposed to go to
I'm
your
trying to
family as
schedule.
well. You know.
Try to schedule with my family without work, and that's hard. And I'm sure it's
Yeah.
much more hectic for you, you know. So I don't blame
Yeah,
you.
trying to look at all the hours. All right, but we're here now.
We're
So
here,
let's
yeah.
get you your progress. So what's the general your Kalosing? That's like the general
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, no, so I'll just introduce myself in terms of like my play style and all that stuff so
Yeah,
that
yeah,
you
go for it.
have a general understanding of me.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess it's like my third year playing now. I had switching mains and all that stuff going on in the background at the same time. But the point is, I think I'm very accustomed to the idea of it being a marathon now. Like I'm
Mm-hmm.
not like, boy, I can't wait to get on MapleStory tomorrow or today. You know, like I'm not like that anymore, obviously. But like I genuinely like the progress I'm having. You know, and I'm also okay with the idea of like sprinting a little bit if need be, like on events or something like that. That's generally me. But and our party, boss party, has been very conservative in terms of how we try new bosses. I guess
Yeah.
it's yeah, it's a bit unrealistic for us to you know give like a min cut run try like every week because obviously it's like six of us with work, and it's unrealistic for them to schedule time with no gains at that week, and that's like the only day they can boss, and it just becomes unrealistic for us to like go for min cuts or struggle runs, I guess, in a way. So we've been
Yeah.
very conservative about it, and we're at the point where I guess NKaling and no, sorry, E-calling and NKalos is like,
Super fast.
yeah, it's like 5 minute run, and sometimes we have like only half of the party members, and we still clear it. So
Yeah.
we're like, okay,
Okay.
we
Yeah.
can definitely tell we're ready for NKaling and C-Kalos, or that's how it feels like.
Mm-hmm.
And but also at the same time, like we're not sure like how much more difficult it is in terms of like I guess playing hands, I guess, because like that too is like we can't really practice by ourselves, right? Because we need the whole member there, and like especially calling, I guess, is where it's like communication is needed, and then
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I mean, you
skipping
could.
phases is hard.
Yeah. Yeah. No, go
Yeah,
for it. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, for sure. So we're like aiming to like jump make the jump when it's like a 15 to 20 minute run. And I was wondering, like, I'm sure from what I hear from like watching your videos here and there, you recently made that jump as well, like Seacoast jump, from what I
Mm-hmm.
heard from you saying. So I
Mm-hmm.
just wanted to hear from firsthand, like different like tips, I guess, that you like felt when you like made the jump. Like other than obviously learn the mechanics, everyone needs to communicate, which is like very generic in my opinion. But like, is there anything that you specifically felt, or you know?
Yeah. One of the main changes that facilitated for us was, of course, a lot of the power creep, and the event skills help a lot. And the
Hmm.
second thing, but probably the main thing, was the ability to cleanse basically twice as fast. Like when that change came through, we knew that we really could start pushing, because our problem, and mine specifically still, is like trying to cleanse while you're also attacking. I've it's really personal at that point, that you have to know what kind of risk you can take personally and still being able to hit the shots every now and then, and also keep
Hmm.
doing damage if it's required. So I know on my side I'm not as good at that, and some other people are better at that, but some other people might be a little bit worse in confirming more DPS or DPM technically like in between the burst. So it's better for them to focus a little bit more on the cleansing, and then the characters who can prefer confirm DPS or DPM like in between the stages a little bit better. It's probably better for them to focus a little bit more on damaging, especially if there's only like 1 or 2 systems up, then the rest of the people can probably keep it under control. If there's ever 3 up, you have to like ditch everything in terms of damage and just hardcore get one of the thing focused, because especially when 3 things are up in Ckalos, then it gets empowered and all of the machines start getting bigger and badder and start doing more damage, and that's when you start bleeding off lives, and that's when you get into trouble for clearing the boss fight. So it's typically, even if you can like 1 segment burst through Ckalos, which is quite a big damage requirement, especially if you don't have a dedicated support like you guys, and we have the same thing, is that probably in stage 2-3 is when at some point there's going to be 3 or even 4 machines up, because you'll have a natural machine coming up, and then he'll do an FMA and then make another machine active, and then you'll have you'll have like the augment, you'll have like the empowerment on of 3 or 4 machines, and it's not as like, it just gets harder, right? And everything has a bigger hitbox and does more damage, so people are going to start dying. But especially when you die and you were about to fire, then you lose your shot as well, right? And then it's like a cascade of failure at that point. So if you could stay on top of it and keep preparing and keep hitting as many shots on things as possible, instead of 4 machines up, maybe it's 3. Instead of 3 full machines up, maybe it's like 3, but 1 is prepared and is pretty much going down very quickly, right? And then just being able to go from 3 to 2 machines up, it just takes away so much margin of error. Second thing we learned is a lot of callouts, like just excessively just calling out like every time there's a teleport, there's a dive, where is he? And it's fast. The faster that call out is, just a little bit more time that you have to respond to go somewhere where he isn't, and you'll never die to a dive again. Or if you die to a dive, it's once or twice a run max. It means you still have 3 lives at the end, maybe your door, but like 3 lives at the end. That means that if you just need to, on 2-4, you know, burst him down, you could just throw lives at him and you can get him, you know? But if at the end you're in like 1 life, then you have to like hide in the corner and be super, super careful, and every little small mistake gets you. And that's what loses you a lot of DPS, because you can't take any risk anymore at that point. And that's when you could do all the Scouter mathematical comparisons that you want, but if you're down to 2 lives or down to 1 life and something might just get you, then you start playing very carefully, and you're just not going to be doing a DPS, right? Then the percentage of DPS drops by like 80% because you're just super careful.
Right. So like DPS try to focus on damaging, and then burst heavy people try to clear more. I see what you mean there.
Yeah, it's good. Well, so yeah, I use DPS mostly just for like burst, and DPM for like all the damage in between the bursts, essentially, right? That's how I use it. So just to clarify, I think one of the main things we started doing was so I mean that was mentioning Ckalos specifically. Ckalos is really, if you're doing normal Kalos that quickly, you're just bursting through it, right? You're not even like 2-2-2ing. Sometimes one person is doing a whole segment, I'm guessing, like if the strongest person can probably... Like the DS can just solo burst P1, and then someone else, or like 2 people do 2-1, and then the DS has everything up for 2-2 again, or something like that, right?
We're like getting like progressively more confident in Kalos, because like sometimes someone fucks up the burst, and we like do like a normal, I guess, cycle of one of the phases, and like we're still like dodging everything, and we're like getting better at it, so we're like a bit more confident in Kalos, I feel like. I don't know how the difficulty jump is in terms of Ckalos to NKalos, but yeah.
Well,
is
basically,
like
if you're strong enough for normal Kalos, you're basically just not even playing the machines, right? Like maybe one machine comes up at one point, but that means that you weren't fast enough. But like maybe in 2-3 or something, a machine comes up, because between 2-1 and 2-2, there was just enough time for him to be up by 2-3 that he actually summons one machine. And then maybe if that's the laser, you have to cleanse the laser first, because doing tests with the laser is very scary, right?
Yeah. We've been doing something like that too when it happens to us. Yeah.
But if it's a UFO or a ball, you just kind of ignore it and you just send it, right?
Is that still a thing in Ckalos, where like you kind of ignore the ball in UFO, or
for testing? Yeah, you want to make sure that you're just on time to use everyone's 3-minute burst as soon as possible. But like I said, if you are unsure, and especially if there's like 2 things up, that means that the very next thing that comes up will be empowering. So if they're at least prepped a little, that's probably fine. Or if you can shoot balls during the test and cleanse it like once or twice or 3 times extra during the test, because you're hitting the machines while you're doing the test as well, then that's okay. But if you feel not competent in that, it might be a better thing to just cleanse and make sure that you have at most one machine up that's not laser. But it will be better to send, because like the faster you send, the faster you bind the boss, and the faster you bind the boss, the faster you interrupt the recharge of him doing the FMA and then bringing up another machine with that as well. So like a full 2-minute class, but you don't have that, right? Yeah. But a full 2-minute party, you can also just do, we're going to do it 2 bursts per segment, right? We're just going to go 3-3 basically per segment. But so the run will take longer, but in total, the percentage of time that the boss is bound is going to be longer, because you'll just be bounding at every 2 minute. But you basically want to look at what is the amount of time that the entire test takes, which is about, I think about 40 seconds, including like after and when you can hit him before the groggy and everything. So about like 40 seconds before all your burst comes up, you want to push him and then go through the entire test and wait for him to become damageable again. And then right then everyone can start bursting. End of groggy, 3 people throw their origin at it, chain to bind afterwards, and you basically have the whole 30 seconds to do damage. And you have as little as possible other things interrupting you. Sometimes you have a UFO and you need to move out of the way a little bit. But if everyone's liberated, right, you have your Jenny iframe. So you'll have groggy, origin, regular bind, and then after that you'll have Jenny. So you basically have almost 40 seconds of doing as much damage as possible, and then you want to be within that segment. You want to be pretty close to getting him. So the real good test, so I guess to get into like what the damage requirements are, right, and compared to, there are relatively easy tests for both bosses that you can do that don't take a lot of time. So it would be a good idea to get, if you have everyone together, to say like, hey, do we have like 5 extra minutes to do this test? And then we can use that as a gauge to see, you know, is this worth an entire run attempt, or is this just, you know, too big for us? So for Kalos, that would basically, P1 is about the exact same HP as every segment in P2. So
okay, that's a good.
Yeah, so if you guys, so typically people want to go 3-3. Sometimes people go like 5-1, right? So that one of the origins is just used to bind it, to extend, and then the other one is like for a full nuke. And then one of the segments is going to be harder, but the other segment is going to be like a guaranteed. So there is some wiggle room there, but it's not as big as you think. Like 2 extra origins is not going to be an extra 20% damage. It's going to be like a few percent extra, right? So that's something to think about. But if you can split up into a 3-3, and you could try like, you know, with one segment of the burst and see how close you get to kind of determine, you have the combat powers here, so you can roughly go off of that, right? The higher the combat power is, the more predictable it is. You have 2 people under 285, so those should probably be in different segments. So maybe put the 280, maybe like the top 3 together and the bottom 3 together here, like you listed. Looks like that would be
mixed it up kind of thing.
Yeah, because you have the Wind Archers a bit more DPM-y, but so is the Shadower.
That's me.
So yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I think that would be, and then combat power wise, it would be maybe a little bit lopsided to the second one, but I think it's okay if the strongest burst goes first, because then that would mean that they go on 1. And then on 3 again, so that you can go into 4, and they might have some stuff back already for 4. So yeah, you could try a bunch of different combinations and see. But if you can get pretty close to everyone doing full burst, 3 people origining, and you can basically like the DPM a little bit more, but you can get down P1 to like 1% HP or something left, and then you have like a little bit more time to kind of wait and get everyone's 3 minute to come back up, then you can be good, like you'll be good damage wise, but then it's just a matter of like practicing and cleansing on time. So it really comes down to calling out the location every single time. If you're cleansing the sides, you need one person to just like shot call, like, okay, we're all cleansing left side, boom, let's go. Or like 2 people stay on ball, 2 people do UFO, 2 people DPS. Like someone just call that, and everyone needs to follow, you know. So someone needs to, Or if it's not one person, maybe it's 2 people. Maybe it could be like, okay, no, I think ball is almost done, so we can go 1 extra on UFO. Okay, like it needs to be clean comms as much as possible, and then as you get that shit down, then you can start bantering and you can start talking about whatever the fuck, right? And then it becomes second nature. But in the beginning, it needs to be pretty clean to make sure that there's just no confusion. And stuff will happen, and there's always going to be one run where someone gets dived on like fucking 4 times, you know, and then it's uncomfortable. But you always got to think about, like, why does one person get dived on 4 times? Maybe they're not positioning properly. Maybe the callouts are too late. Maybe they're dodging in the wrong way, right? Like, if you have dive and you're already on the up top platform, best thing is to just up jump and blink in the air. Just wait 3 seconds and it'll go down. If you haven't heard beam in a while, maybe you call out like, oh, I think beam is back up. And then if someone says they're down, then even if it's not on your side, just always go up just in case, you know? And just moving any unit, like if you're cleansing the side, always just stay stacked together, because then you know 100% where the Kalos is going, right? It's easy during the test because you always know that he's jumping in the middle, because that's where everyone is. So if you can do that during the test as well, sorry, not during test, but during cleansing as well, then you know where he's going to go, and then it becomes so much, you can respond so much faster, it's so much easier. If someone has eyes on the arrows and just calls that the arrows are coming, then you just know that already. You don't like jump up and then jump into 3 arrows, get blinded. Now what do? Do you use your iframe in case there's a dive? Or can you 100% rely on the fact that if there is a dive, someone's going to call it, so you don't have to use it? You can hold your iframe in case there's a bad UFO laser during the middle of the test or something, right? Then you can also push faster, because you know you're going to have that iframe on the reserve, and you don't have to burn it necessarily during the burst anymore.
I see.
So it'll get more streamlined for sure. Like our early runs were like terrible. There'll always be someone dying out by 2-2 or 2-3. And now still like the last time, we still had to run twice because someone just got unlucky and got dived on a bunch of times, and I fucked up one time. But like you can't mess up tests, right? So it's like 100%. Everything is set towards doing the test properly and doing the burst after that properly. And as long as you've got those locked in, it's just about hitting as many shots as possible, and just calling out everything. But that's a good measuring stick for Ckalos, just to see if it's even remotely possible. If you do that first burst, you know, and everyone's kind of like bursted out, there's another 10 to 15 seconds of DPS, and you still have like 40% of the boss. It's probably going to be possible mathematically, but it's going to be a really, really tough run. It's going to be a lot of cleansing, a lot of extra DPM after the burst. You might have to have all of the 2-minute classes or the DPM classes do a second burst before you can segment, which can work, right? You can do another 2-minute bind, and then go off of when that bind is like about 40-45 seconds off, and then push again. That's possible, but those will be longer runs, not guaranteed, and with the composition you said your party is in, that might not be possible with this party composition.
Yeah, okay.
So that's for Kalos. For culling. So normal culling HP is about 5x that of easy culling. So that's trickier. But a good test for that is to see if you can have your 2 strongest bursting people to basically burst down the dog within 2 bursts, and have them being able to survive the time in between burst 1 and 2, and have you guys being able to gauge between 1 and 2 while specifically focusing around the dog.
What do you mean by 1 and 2? Sorry.
1 and 2. Well, like the second burst, right? So in between burst 1 and burst 2, there's gonna be patterns at dog that are the tricky part, right? When people are talking about dog gets really annoying. That's like with the spikes and everything, and then they get a lot of purple bar. So it's specifically gonna be up to the people in Tiger to triangle on the left side. So you are where the red strings are. So you can take a bunch of red strings to make sure you keep dog under control. And be careful with their burst. You know, if you do origin bursts over there, then you're not hittable for a while. If you use Jenny iframe, you don't want to go crazy on green on the green bar, right? On a green blue bar, but you still have to keep taking red strings to make sure that you take that weight off of dog. And then of course, you know, bird is going to have to concentrate, because you'll need to get out of dog pretty quickly so that the dog bursters can go into bird and kill bird ASAP, because the longer bird is up, the more of your willpower it will sap, and the more lives you will lose towards P3. So
I thought you wouldn't stay in bird for normal calling, so because of the willpower decreasing.
Yeah, exactly. So you want to get out of dog quickly. We want to get like most of the second burst, so they can go into bird and kill bird quickly, and then you'll end up in tiger. Yeah, because if it takes more than 2 bursts in dog, they don't get to bird in time. Then they can't kill bird fast enough, and then just P3 gets really, really difficult. essentially. But also, if you can't have your 2 strongest bursts kill dog within 2 bursts, that means that P2 is also going to be borderline impossible to get out of within the duration. So the trick for P2, if you do get to that point, right? But I think the dog check is already enough to see if you guys mechanically are good. But for P2, the trick is basically to just origin as soon as you see her HP bar pop up, right? And then burst until about 8 seconds into the iframe, and then origin. And then you'll need to do just as many as you can. Like probably in the beginning, you'll just want all 6 to be up, you know, just throw all 6 of your origins in there. Maybe if some characters' origins aren't as good, they might damage regularly, but then their iframe will run out, so they'll have to make sure they're not in the lightning on the ground.
So like, in normal calling, like the strat is to skip phase 2 as well, or like
yes,
do we
you want to be
I was just wondering, but
you can extend it. But the strat is that you use origin first, because in the first 8 seconds or so she doesn't really go anywhere, she'll just be attacking while she's in the middle, so you can extend it to about 18 seconds of bursting by using about 8 seconds of Jenny and then your origin. And then after, if you don't kill it within that origin, she'll start flying around and doing a bunch of shit, and then it's still doable, but a whole bunch of, like a slew of mechanics and everything and crazy stuff will come over that you need to start learning. That I think also when you get to that point, again, you could do it just like in Ckalos with all the mechanics, but probably with your party, like it's going to take longer, and then the guarantee percentage will drop, right? Especially if you lose a life here and there, and then that's going to be valuable time out of everyone's phase. Phase 3 is exactly the same as for easy. It's just more HP, but otherwise it's exactly the same.
So, in terms of like combat power wise, we're like, would you say we're like more than ready for NKaling and Ckalos, or?
Checking with my party, my character is like horribly fucking over spec'd for everything. So I'm not gonna take that as an average, but from what I saw initially, mathematically it's probably more than fine. The problem is going to be a little bit the levels. Like the hero that's 281 with 220 is that's going to be the rough one. Like if you can replace that one with a 284 support or something, that damage that they're going to bring is going to like triple or something. So that's probably the biggest. Even just 2 levels on that person and like 1 event might already make a huge upgrade, honestly. But if the events skills drop and stuff like that, that's going to be that's definitely your roughest spot there mathematically. You know, I don't know if they're going to be great.
Like majority of the party members are still the members that we started like and lucid with, so I don't think we can just like, hey, you're not qualified, we're dropping you, you know.
I know. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying like fuck this guy because his numbers are low. I'm just saying that like mathematically, if that guy can gain like a level or 2, can get to 283. If they hit 1 or 2 upgrades, then it'll be, but they're just sticking out a little bit, right? Like if you look at the combat power, like with the DS, if you compare it to the DS or to the Wind Archer, like it's a huge difference, right?
But
it looks
lucky with the pitch.
No, exactly. You could just get a little bit unlucky with pitch and Eternal, and you can and you don't get any boss fams, and suddenly you're just down 100 mil combat power. That's just how it goes.
Yeah. For sure. And I mean, I'm sure they dedicated more hours than us too, but okay, so definitely doable. Like if hands were there, you would say like it's like a comfortable 20-minute run, would you say, or would it?
You don't want the runs to go much longer than that, because it can get out of hand. You want to keep a tight knit, so the bosses should be around. I think our Ckalos run is like around a 16 to 17 minute run. Honestly, if you can't do it in that amount of time, it just gets really hard to even live past it, because someone is going to get cut out. There's always someone who gets the unlucky side of the poop stick and then gets a bunch of dives and gets a breath here and there. And then they start, they're like, oh shit, I gotta play lives. Okay, now everyone has to cleanse 20% better, right? To keep up with the cleanses. And then you get that cascade of failures. So you don't want the runs to be much longer than that. And so those tests that I talked about, like if you can't really reach those, or you feel like you're still a little bit too far away from those, then it's probably better to just keep doing the current thing and just focus on upgrading and focus on that and just put your time towards that. Maybe, more Hexa and everything. It's going to help a lot. After the 14th, you get the event skills going away. So there might be a little bit of a ditch there as well, where you have to wait until the next event skills catch up again.
For
and
sure.
then
Okay, yeah.
they'll take the pressure off as well because you're like, well, if you could do before, then. But yeah, it's good to every now and then just do those checks, and maybe after the run because you'll probably have time left, right? Just go into the practice,
Right.
not even into practice mode. You can go to, well, no, you would have to go into practice mode because you just cleared, but you could do like, 5 minutes in practice mode and just like check and then see like, okay, are we close at all? If you checked last week and nobody made any upgrades, maybe use the rest of your buffs to do some, C10A or whatever solo to try to get your pitched or anything. But if everyone's down for a little bit of practice, I would give it a try every now and then. Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually a good way of, I guess, measuring, because I don't know, we're like fixated on the fact that like if we're trying, we have to just headbutt like for like 30 minutes. But
Yeah.
then now that you say that, just try one burst on P1. That's not as much of an investment to see where we are at and stuff. That's nice.
Yeah.
Okay,
You can compare it to previous times. They're like, oh, in the same time now we did like 5% more of the boss. Like this is going in the right direction. Or if somebody says like, oh, I fucked up a burst, then you'd be like, oh, okay, maybe you just like hold your origins, or you wait like 2 minutes and then you go again, and then the other 3 people just origin. And you can kind of compare as well if the parties are evenly stacked, because you don't want to typically have like one really strong, one really weak. Ideally, you want to have them about evenly stacked, and then so that all of the segments take about the same amount of time, and then you don't have to do extra 2-minute segments, or maybe shadow like extra 90-second, or you probably have to do some extra 60 seconds and extra 90-second stuff probably for one whole segment. So maybe wait until like the 90-second stuff is back, so you have a little bit of, you basically want to have about 30 seconds left on the timer for Ckalos basically, and then have them down to about 1%, and then finish them off so that all the 3-minute stuff is back up right after the transition and everything. And it's probably best to just let the transition happen and not like skip it, because you still don't know 100% how crazy the boss gets with the patterns and everything. So yeah, that's where we're at right now.
No, thanks so much for like, because like often what I would see is like just get stronger, or like I feel like there's like significantly less guide of like as we are going to harder bosses, and we're like seeing less guide of it, so it's kind of hard for us to gauge where we are at and stuff. So yeah, I'm sure like everyone, I think almost everyone is having this problem too, I guess, in terms of like jumping. Like majority of the players, I feel like, are making the jump to NKaling+Ckalos right now. So.
Yeah, the Kalos to normal Kalos jump is pretty early on. Even if you have to play the mechanics a little bit, it's still, with all the 6 job power creep, right? If you just keep dumping into Hexa, you get there pretty quickly. But yeah, like you said, the normal Kaling to Ckalos is definitely a way bigger jump. And then after that, it's a it's not a bigger jump than this one, but it is a harder jump because of how long it takes to get that. You don't need percentage-wise as much extra damage, but you need perfect hands, and the damage is harder to get, so it actually does take longer. So it's a little bit contradiction there. Yeah.
That's like a good segue to like my other question, which was like double priming and 23 starring. Like, I know it's like an extra thing, but like, is it necessary to do like? I'm guessing it's not necessary to do Ckalos and stuff like that, but like
no,
to make the next jump after Ckalos, is it like actually necessary to do double prime in 23, or is this like almost like just for the numbers kind of feel? You know what I mean? Like I wasn't sure.
There's something about for the numbers. There's something about min-maxing. There's something about flexing to other people, of course, or just to see what the limitations of your character are. I would say up until the order here, I don't like particularly, but I would say if you move hard culling to where she should be, which is I would switch hard culling and extreme Saren here. I think at this current point, to get to hard culling and everything above, so hard culling, hard limbo, extreme Kalos, and extreme culling, like for those 4, I would say you need to do some kind of 23ing is probably not necessary because it's pretty inefficient, but you probably want to be double priming to make sure that you can even get into parties who are trying to run those things, because otherwise they'll just have other people to pick from who are double priming, and they'll just not even consider you. But I think Extreme Saren here and things below, like NKalos, Extreme BM, even smaller party for those bosses, maybe even like 4-man Extreme BM, and maybe even like 5-man Kalos and all that. There's no need for 23 starring or double priming. It's not necessary now.
Okay.
6-job power creep is just big enough, and there is more power creep coming. But it also might be temporarily a little bit inflated because of event stats and all that, right? So that does play into it a little bit. But mathematically, I don't think it's more a hands thing than a
Okay, yeah. Just the trend seems like event buff will almost always be there. So
they're going towards that, yeah. Or they're with the Legion champion, that's almost going to be like a mild form of that on, and then the event buffs are going to be on top of that almost, right?
Yeah, yes. That's okay. So I guess like I don't really have to worry about like pushing it's just hard to imagine, like wrap my head around like how much damage you're getting from double priming and 23 starring, because it seems very minimal in my eyes, but like to some, I guess it's like
it's not efficient.
Big of a jump,
Yeah, it's not that efficient, but at a certain point it becomes the most efficient thing you can do. But that doesn't mean it is efficient, right? People who like their account to be built more horizontally, be built more broadly in terms of strong bossing mules, or with in the precipice of Legion champion that they're trying to build more towards 2, 3, 4, 5 up to 6-man, like big C10A solo people, maybe into like easy Kalos and normal Kalos, like that kind of stuff, for up to 6 people of their account. They'll definitely have to diversify more. But people who are specifically trying to do the hardest boss every single time it comes out and be ready for it, those people cannot afford in any kind of way to disparage that much, and they have to throw everything onto their main character to be able to hit those min cuts.
Okay.
And
it feels a bit better that like I don't have to go through that route yet to progress then. So
yeah, I have one 23-star item, but I only got that recently, and I have a potential badge that has double prime, but it's only since recently. And I guess technically my secondary is double prime, but it's like with a boss line prime and not with like 2 lines of attack. So that's pretty mild, I think, over the entire account. Everything else is just like regular roll 3-line and 22. But my combat power is like at with my damage rings at like 407, I think, or 410. So I'm overspec'd. So it's definitely not necessary. It just eases you into it, and you help like compensate maybe a little bit of the lower combat power of someone else who just doesn't have all of these things. But if you had a whole party with completely spec like that, then you might just be able to min cut like a 1 difficulty higher. But again, you'd have to have people who want to spend the time for that, who have the aspirations for that, who have the hands for that, who are all in the same time zone and have the same level of
that's like another thing
patience with each other. Yeah, so that's a whole bunch of extra parameters that it's hard to control for you.
Yeah, I noticed that like hands wise, like I'm a very slow learner. Like people put in 1 hour and I put in like 10 hours, and like we're at like I'm still worse than them kind of thing. So
yeah, some people just instantly they get it,
Yeah.
With Black Mage, that was very apparent how much slower I was. I was still struggling with like Hard Lotus back then, like duoing Hard Lotus and dying out sometimes with my duo.
Yeah, that's me. Yeah, I only recently cleared Black Mage solo, and like it was like 20 attempts. So
yeah, that P3 man, that P3 is a bitch, dude.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm like way over spec. Like I should be having an easy time, but this isn't coming with the hands. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I feel a bit. I feel like it's being more clarified, because like all the time people are just like, oh yeah, communicate better, but like you giving us like more specific details of how to do things is quite a eye opener, I guess.
Shot caller on the systems, 1 shot caller on a position. That's the most important part. Like someone says like, hey, we need to cleanse this right now. So 1 person on the timer is good, 1 person on positions is good, and 1 person on priority of cleansing. So that could be the same person, that could be 3 different people. Someone could say like, hey, we need to like push him within the next 15 seconds, so we need more DPM. Or someone is like, hey, he's already at 0.5, we can hold, And then once it's like 5 more seconds, it'd be like, okay, push, push, push now, you know? And it's best to not have all 6 people talk, but everyone has like a job, or someone could be like, oh, wait, where is he? And someone like, oh, I got eyes, I'll call. And then you temporarily take over, and it's be like, okay, he's teleporting. He's probably going to teleport to where everyone else is. You join the group, and now you're moving as a unit, and now almost nobody has to call. You can just say like top, bottom, left, or like top, bottom, mid. As soon as he teleports away, you can be like, yo, where the fuck did he go? And then you immediately, you know, it's not like you're kind of pointing the finger, but you're not like maliciously. You're like, hey, you need to be with us, because now, like in the end, what can happen is people dying. He'll teleport the millisecond that someone reses. He'll teleport to the bottom left corner on top of someone, and then he pulls away from everyone and lasers everyone. Like, that shit's gonna happen. But in the middle of the cleansing and between the tests, you gotta try to move as a unit and stay together. Because sometimes it feels safer to move away. It's kind of like with Vihila, right? You're like moving away or going in the corner for safety, but you're actually making the run more unsafe for everyone else, because now the FMAs come and the greens and the purples come, and then you can't dodge them or see them coming, or the person doesn't call them out. Now it actually gets harder for everyone, because they're trying to make it easier for themselves, right? And you can't have that. You just, that stuff just leads to one death here, one death there. Then people are more scared. They have to play safer. They're not cleansing as much. Machines stay up longer. Other people die, and then the whole run dies out, basically. So if everything is just a little tighter, it gets exponentially easier.
Yeah, for sure.
Goes with practice.
Yeah, for the Legion champion, actually, I had. So I was like 21 Abso preacher to my friends, I guess, and I like. I didn't progress as much as I could on my main, because I was having fun. Like, you know, when I'm not having fun with my main, I would just, you know, jump on my boss mules, I guess, kind of thing. But then now, like, I was like in the progress of like 21ing some of them. Like, it was like 1 or 2 equips or something like that. But then the Legion champion news dropped. Now I'm like, what do I do? Because like I already like, if I haven't invested, I would go like, okay, since I need to do, you know, Kalos and stuff in the future, I guess going Arcane makes sense now. But like, I already invested, and I linked like a bunch of chapters on all my characters with Abso status if you want to take a look. But
I mean, so first off, I think 20. I love 20 Abso because that's 21 fodder into 20, right? So I think that's efficiency, and I think efficiency-wise, it's also enough. So I like that a lot. But I definitely feel the same. Like, if you have a character that you want to push towards, like, you know, basically anything that content-wise would be in the 270 plus area, you want to be in Arcanes. Like, being in Abso still at 270 plus is just like, you know, you're entering kindergarten when you're like 14 years old, and you're like wearing those baby clothes that you're just like grown out of. It's like, what is going on here? Like, those shorts are riding up that leg pretty high. Like, that's not working out. That's kind of like the same vibe. So you always want to fund for what the purpose of the character is. The purpose of the character is doing up to like C10A duo and hard lucid, hard will solo, and everything below, you know, soloing whatever the fuck you want. Then 20 Abso is fine. 21 Abso is totally okay if you're okay with getting some backups or getting 22 on the fodder right before transferring. Then that's totally fine. If your purpose is to be Legion champion, and from what it looks like, the last challenge is going to be normal Kalos soloing.
Yeah, which is ridiculous,
it's probably possible with 22 Abso, but 21 Arcanes is basically like 24-star Abso, right? So at that point, it just becomes completely. You just get so much more damage from Abso. But having 20 or 21 Abso puts you in a situation really easily where you should be able to duo C10A pretty comfortably. Potentially solo it, depending on all your other levels of funding and whether you hit special rings and all that stuff. But definitely duoing C10A and soloing hard lucid and hard will. So you should be able to save up armor boxes and stuff like that pretty responsibly. And because you went 20 or 21 Abso, you funded at your efficiency peak, in my opinion, and therefore you save a lot of money on the front end to make a lot of money with your bossing mule. And now that money will just, you know, be going back from your account towards those characters. Also, probably at around the same point where that money going into your main character is going to be extremely inefficient, because you're just waiting for pitches and Eternals at that point most of the time, right? Yeah. So, and like flame-wise, endgame, I was always predicting like endgame flaming would be like your main expense essentially, because your 3-line potential you're maybe going to double prime, but you're probably going to wait until cube sales. You're 22 and 23ing is going to, that's like shining only essentially. So you're probably just going to min-max on your flames. But it doesn't even make sense to min-max on your flames with money now because events give so many and powerful flames are just, so much less efficient in terms of throwing money into that.
Yeah.
So that doesn't even become a money sink anymore. So the main new money sink is just pushing your boss mules even further. Or not even making the boss mules, but like side characters or like your main goon squad, I guess, your 6-man goon squad for Legion Champion. So I think,
wasn't.
I think you did a good point in like saving your money up front and just funding it appropriately for what it was going to do. And now you just need to realize like this character is going for a new purpose, so it needs to fund for that new purpose. So you should be able to bring quite a few. And I think in doing that, you're also avoiding the trap of like having to go 22 or nothing that people are in. I think 22 or nothing makes the idea behind it makes a lot of sense because you don't want to get stuck on 19 or 21, capitalizing or investing hardcore into a piece but then not being done, and then eventually being done you might have to make another one and then have to reinvest all those things. It doesn't feel good. But even now, like 21 Arcane is going to be more than enough, and you have 21 Absos, you can just send it 21 or nothing, and if it doesn't go, it's fine, you can keep your current stuff, and if it does go, boom, cross that one off the list and start narrowing down what you take from the boxes, right?
Yeah, so you would suggest that I just finish 21 Absos so that I can just jump on C10 and just stack on dupes and just...
Yeah, moving towards... Yeah, I would probably move towards like full 20 or 21 Abso. Like, I think 20 is fine, so if you can get like 21 followers and transforming, if you already have a few 21, that's cool. But like what's going to make more sense is like liberating them and getting skill rings for them. That's where the big power lies. Getting level 4 rings and getting liberation is going to be the freest quote-unquote funding now. And I saw someone comment on my on my video about like how liberation is changing and them like completely disagreeing with me because you're not like entitled to liberating as easily as we are. It's like I never claim that. I'm just saying if you're trying to liberate a lot of characters to get the free funding for it, now is the time to really pounce on that and to make a lot of progress because it's going to slow down beyond 8 months if you don't. It's going to basically be like a 3-year progress if you if you're gonna like full 4, 5, 6-man pug on characters to try to get the orbs to try to keep doing liberation. You might need like actually 2 or 2.5 times as long as you do currently for liberation compared to now. So if that's something that's makes sense for your account, the faster you get that started, the better.
Yeah, with the connections I have like 2 Black Mage runs that like extra runs that I'm getting from my friends, but with
your solo, have you tried to leverage that? Like just do like red dot carries for people and then like exchange red dots?
Yeah, no, we were exchanging like red dot for like 2 of my boss mules, but like I would like I guess offer to run, but like also like as I told you, my hands are a bit of a problem, and I just soloed it, and it was like a 20 attempt run. So
yeah, gotcha. Yes, you don't feel as confident yet. Maybe if people join on like more supporty characters or something.
Yeah, so
or you're okay with them blue dotting maybe, so that the run is more guaranteed, and then because again, giving up the money for the crystal versus liberating earlier now on characters that are not ready yet is, I would say that's a really worthwhile investment because it feels bad to give away 4.5 bill crystal and maybe only get like 800 mil from it. But if that means that in 6 months you'll have 3 extra characters almost liberated, versus that's worth the money, right? Because it's just 5 extra months times 4 bill. That's just 20 bill investment over 3 characters. That's 7 bill a pop. You're never going to get that kind of return on any other investment on your character than a liberated weapon. So it's definitely worth it.
Yeah, for sure. I'm like trying to convince my friends to like stop doing Black Mage and solo it so that I can get more
double up. Doubles up the spots. It's crazy. Yeah, you can get twice as many mules done. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's.
And then you have twice as many people to do the duo liberation quests with as well. That will be on there. So you'll have an easier time picking good combinations to make the runs easier for sure.
Yeah, so for now I'm doing DS and Nightwalker of my boss mules to the lib quest. It's like in the process right now. So hopefully I get more runs found before the patch comes. So like even if like I'm pretty far, like so if you look at my DS,
Nice glove.
it's like yeah. The glove is like making me go like, okay, like what do I do? Because like I was just going for a quick damage line with an STR or something, and then it just went like that. And like now I'm like kind of I feel like I'm like stuck where like I have to fully go 21 AFSO and just and then I'm like, but shouldn't I go arcane? And like it's I don't know, yeah.
Yeah, I mean you can try to you can transfer hammers. So if you're okay with doing the weeklies. Like, the extra 3 stars is probably worth less than just that extra line of pot that you're already getting extra. So you could also say, like, I'm just going to keep this, and I'm going to go for, like, a 21 glove with a line of crit damage and a line of stat at least before I switch over. But it'll also facilitate being able to switch over in time. But you'll still probably switch it over as the last item, right?
Yeah.
So you'll just reprioritize when you switch, yeah.
In a state like this, you would suggest that I would just full 21 AFSO and just get fodders for arcane. Is that your view of the thing?
Like in this DS's case, I mean, I would just get better flames on your stuff, right? Like your cape and your glove can get way better flame. But other than that, I'd probably keep this. The thing with if you're funding a lot of characters is that you will find whatever your preconceptions are of this is like how much I need to fund, this is how good every equip needs to be. You'll get lucky on some equips and unlucky on some others. And you can use the luckiness on the lucky ones to compensate for the unluckiness on the unlucky instead of falling into the trap of taking whatever is the luckiest item and setting that now as a standard of what every item should be. Because then you start overfunding. So if you see something like, oh shit, like I'm trying to aim for like 90 flame score and something hits 110, is now it's like, fuck, now all my items are shit unless they were 110. No, that means if you're looking for an average of 90 and something hits 110, that means if something just gets stuck on 75 and just won't go, that's good enough. Because on average, that's still better than a 90. So now you're good. And now you can move on to the next one. Right? Because if you fall into the trap of pushing, now you're overfunding. And now you're going against the purpose of the character.
Yeah, flame department. I'm just waiting for my eternal pants to get a good enough flame so that I can like chuck.
Yeah, main character still takes precedent. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
but you could. Do you have a good current flame that you're like black flaming over, or are you still eternaling?
Let me just check on my main. Let me log off in a second.
Yeah. But you don't know the exact flame score, man. Such a casual dude.
I had it at like I'm like I rather there's so much flames given. I just like
let me guess. It's a 114 and 5 with a little bit of secondary stat.
It's 95 and 6. I think I recently hit a pretty decent flame, but I don't know if I should like keep it at this and then just settle.
95 and 6, yeah, that's over 155. So I would probably start black flaming over that only.
Right.
So that means I would use Eternals on anything Arcane or Arcane on side characters or Abzo on side characters, and I use Powerfuls on accessories and cups and CRA, basically. That's how I would allocate them.
So Black Flames on Eternal from this point on, and then...
Yeah.
But like my thought process was like, I'm not.
Unless you get a pitched. If you get a pitched on the main, then that would reprioritize the Eternals.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
My thought process, like, I already have a CRA pants, and it's like barely like a slightly better, right? So I'm like, I'll just, I have time, so I was just throwing rainbow and black on it, but I guess Black Flame from now on.
What's the Star Force on your pants?
It's 17. I have 22 hat. And 17 shirt, and then 17.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah, doing 22, 17, 17. Okay, yeah, that's not a bad switch. Because, I mean, honestly, as soon as you have one backup, that could be 22, 19, 19, right? That could go.
Yeah.
Or it could stay 22, 17, 17. Who knows? The big lottery of life.
Yeah.
Because is your top flame... Has your top flame improved since then?
No, it's sitting at exactly that, yeah.
Because then I mean, you could still use Eternals, but then I would use them on the top instead, right? Because if the pants are, what is it, 95 and 6, then you still have like 25 flame score to gain on the top comparatively. So I would reprioritize to the top then.
Yeah. It just recent, like yesterday, I think. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, yeah, but you gotta like be flexible in that, right? Constantly like readjust and keep track of all those flames, and then yeah, then I guess the eye patch is probably due for some juice as well. Could maybe Eternal the eye patch instead of the Abso. 75 is not bad, but you probably want to, if it's 22, you want to aim for like, well, you have some dex and strength, I guess, which is 70, so it's like a 70, it's at 127. It's not bad. I probably would Black Flame over the eye patch as well, but I think I'm pretty sure Black Flaming over Eternal, like over the top, is better until it hits about the same as the pants, like 155 plus, and then go to the eye patch, I would say. Oh yeah, yeah, that's where I would be. Eternal slash, yeah, probably Eternal on the top until you hit something like closer into the 150s, and then Black Flame eye patch until it hits something like around like 135-ish, and then go back to the Eternal, something like that. What's the hat at? Oh, that's glorious. Yeah, that's what you like to see.
That's juiced.
Fucking 190. Yeah, juice that shit out of that. Nice, nice. That one's gonna have more utility from the potential going for a higher skill cooldown, right?
Yeah,
if only that was a 2 second. Oh, that'd be so nice. Yeah.
Do you say 135 or 150 for the eye patch?
Eventually, you want to go into like 145 to 150, but I think you would. I think it probably like Eternal over it, especially if you have a big chunk until you get into the 130s.
Okay, yeah.
And then probably Black Flame from there. Yeah, eventually you probably want to get as close as possible to like 150 plus, but that's really just like Hail Marys on Black Flames every single time you're trying, right?
Yeah.
And you see someone running around with like a 175, and you're like, you know, nothing's fair in life, but you know, it's gonna you're just hoping to chase that dream. I think I know exactly where mine are at, but I think mine are at like always like the 147-ish or something like around there, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
Like something just under 100 with a 5, something like that. Basically what your Eternal is right now, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry. So yeah, that was about the Abzo into Arcanes. Is that make that clear? Yeah, and then all your champion characters have some 21 Abzo, not 21, but not all yet. Yeah, so I'll probably keep it just focused on, because you're strong enough to do the Arcane bosses. Maybe duo, but whatever. Maybe join a pug every now and then just to get your odds for the boxes, right? Because they're not affected by drop rate and they're instance. So who the fuck cares? You know, maybe sacrifice a little bit of money just to get as many clears as possible. You want to get Arcane backups, you want to get ring boxes, and you want to liberate. That's like where all the value is for those characters. So as much as you can cash in on that, that's what you want to do.
Yeah, I've been doing pub C10, but like, I don't know, it's a bit of
it's hit or miss.
One with like 30 mil CP. I think people are like in that area of like, I just want to burst and get out. So I'm down to let's get down, but so I've been like not being able to find C10 pubs like regularly, but I've been trying. But yeah,
30 is tricky. You're at fuck, is this? That's like more. Yeah, that's where like my Lin is. I think you'd want to get to. Did you have any other like? Do you have higher Star Force Superior as well? I thought you did on the DS, right? You're like 20 to 21 Superior as well.
Yeah, this Shining Star Force, I hit some 21s that they're at rare right now because like all in.
Okay,
on
so they're missing. Yeah, they're missing some combat power. Because I think you want to. You would probably want to get closer to like 50 to 60 mil combat power. Then you can basically pick up duos with, you know, with some stronger people. You'll just help them enough, and you'll very easily blue, probably green dot. Yeah, you should be very easily green dotting as well. But you're not dragging them, and you're helping them with the extra bind and with the extra damage and with the extra origin, right? Let's see what's the huge difference here between your This is your main stuff. This is
I don't think I shared on anything other than Absos on my.
Yeah, I'll just look at the gear a little bit, because you're missing 2 potentials, and WSE is all at least like 2. Are they all like 3 somewhat useful lines, or is just 2 useful lines and like a throw?
Oh no, they're like for DS it's like hybrid lines for Meso and drop at the moment. And
okay, yeah.
Yeah, and the other 21 is like 2.5 lines, I guess, 3, depending on if I got lucky.
Yeah, so here's
Yeah.
my so this is my cane. So this is kind of like what I have. So I have a 21 slime ring, 21 kind of treasure, but it's still unique, but like it's 3 line, 20 star superior, just 2 line, and I have 1 special ring here as a weapon jump 4. Ideally, I want to roar here, of course. It would be way better. The cup is like, I don't know, just under 100 or just over 100 around there. And I have a 17 star superior because, you know, pendants backups is just hard. So my pendants are just 17, so there's nothing crazy there. But I did get the weapon. So getting the weapon early, even just at 17, is going to be a huge damage increase. Even if you have like a 20 or 21 Abzo, which I wouldn't advise. I would just keep Abzo at 17 always, and then go straight up to Arcane Weapon. Even if you have to buy it, 11 bill, hard worth it. I see the potential is like the lowest possible fucking settle for a 3 line. Like 65 boss and 10 attack, but that'll do a lot of work, you know, and then a decent flame.
Yeah, that's like
6.
also the thing. My DS and Nightwalker is in the process of getting red dot BMs, right? So I'm just like, I said 17 Abso, and I'm like, do I even need to?
Yeah, this guy libs next month, but I would still get the arcane weapon just because you can do the C10s faster and you can start getting the arcane boxes faster. Yeah, in total, it'll still be worth it. If you're like 2 months out now, then maybe not. But like I got this when I was like 2 or 3 months in, just to also make sure that for the last liberation quests, that those quests were easier to do.
Oh yeah. Both of my characters are like 2-3 months in, so I guess it still works. Yeah, for
if
sure.
you're 30 mil and even duoing like hard Vihela on 30 mil is gonna be still pretty rough, I think.
Yeah, I don't do that.
Yeah.
That's too rough.
Exactly. You'll have to find someone who has like 70 mil or something to duo with you, and that'll make it harder for you to find that party member. Belt's 21, CRA is fully 21, but everything is here pretty much 2 lines. So like the things where I get a lot of backup of, I push a little bit harder, and the things where I don't want to spend a lot of money, like the potentials, I just stick to 2 line. So just 2 line here, 2 line here. This is 18 star, Black Beam Mark. But it comes down to doing those fundamentals, right? Doing Pink Bean, doing Chaos Pink Bean, doing those a lot until you hit, and then you can just completely drop it. This is for some reason 24% all stat because you know Xenons hate this guy. Yeah.
Triple prime.
Yeah. Oh, I just noticed this has 76 and 4 flame. That's pretty good. But it's all 21, and then 20 shoe, 20 cape. We see these potentials are, you know, kind of disgusting. Like they're not that good at all. Some of these flames are pretty nice though. 75 and 5. That's pretty good. 84 with attack, not even any all stat.
So, and what does that put you in terms of CP here?
Yeah, so it's this 2-line attack emblem. This is 2-line attack with line of IED, so also not insane. And a 2-line boss 1 attack here, and that puts me just under. That puts me at 57.8. I don't have everything set up, but it stays under 60 mil.
Okay, I guess for me it's mostly getting rid of the. Getting a new pair of equips for accessories. I guess that'll push like.
Yeah, to damage instead of the drop in the mezzo. Yeah, so what I did was I had the old stuff was basically just like event rings, silver blossom, all the boss accessories basically. I used all of that in unique with like 12% to get myself strong enough to be able to do all of these bosses. And then once I got these pieces, boom, all of these to damage, and then just 1 tier up from unique to legendary on all of these, 1 line, and then move on, and then basically got full drop there just to get black hearts essentially.
Did you when you're progressing on your I guess your side characters, did you like off event at all, or did you only event?
Only event because I kind of staggered them. I never made like a bunch of like 8 of them at the same time. I would always work on like 1 or 2. So whenever there's an event, there's always some characters that have an opportune upgrade moment, you know? So they have like, oh, this character has like 12 kind of treasure rings. Boom. I can fucking send this shit, you know? And then I can easily, I can guaranteed get a 21, and maybe another 21, and then go into superior. And if I don't hit, it's fine too. Like I don't force anything, because there's always going to be some other character I can spend money on, because and it helps. Your main character is in like Pitcher Eternal, so if there's nothing going on there, you can just plan as much as you want on another character, because by the time the character is in Pitcher Eternal, you'll already have your money back as long as you have your weekly income up, right?
Okay.
Yeah, so always look for that most opportune moment. One character doesn't get any kind of treasure rings, cool. Maybe you make Meister rings on it, you know, if you have the materials. One character gets no superior. Okay, well, cool. We wait. Another character gets 3 belts. That means I can go for a 21 belt, right? I can 21 to 20 transfer and tap again at 20. If it goes, I can cash in on 21. If another character, just gets 1, I cash in on a 20 belt. That's cool. It'll just have 1 star less on a belt, but maybe I go for 2.5 line potential instead of a 2 line potential. And then you kind of just compensate with, again, don't take whatever is the best outcome as your standard, but take that to compensate for something else that's going to be slightly lower. You see, like with this one,
Right.
both of my pendants are 17. That's kind of trash, honestly. I could try to min-max hardcore for a 16 Dominator pendant, transpose it into a Sweetwater pendant, try to get a Sweetwater pendant to 21, but his character doesn't need that damage for what I'm doing with it. So it's all of that time is just a waste. If I just push a little bit more, like with the events coming out now with the Miracle Time, I'm just going to take Miracle Time now to get all of my characters everything to Legendary. Because I know they're already kind of doing what I want them to do, but a bunch of them are still missing out on some potentials because I still have some uniques here and there. Not too much here. This one is pretty good, but there's a lot of characters that have like half the items still unique, and because they're like 15% or 12%. But if I can get 6 to 9% on like 7 items, boom, that's like another 40 to 50% stat. It's easy gains at that point.
Yeah, like I've been noticing that I guess I have much more money. Like it's like very different experience than progressing my main, where I just all in every time. But on events, now that I have extra monies just sitting around, I'm thinking maybe I should just push it so that I can do bosses. But also I'm having that dilemma of I have 6 characters going on at the same time, and no matter how much I progress, I feel like I'm not progressing enough.
Yeah, that's an automatic trap to fall into, right? The game is always going to push you towards playing more, and it always comes down to you looking at what do you want to achieve and where do you want to go with your account. That should ultimately determine what you're going to be doing, and not can I upgrade, because you can always upgrade, right? If you wanted to right now, you could dump everything into Bright Cubes and try to go for double prime on your main. You could, but does it make sense, right? Does it help your account? Does it help your main character progress, or does it help what you're trying to achieve with your account? That's always what it comes down to.
Okay, yeah, for sure.
And you got to go into inefficiency, right? Because a lot of people are usually scared of do I keep pushing a second or third or fourth character because it's going to take so much longer before you earn the money back from the investment. And I can definitely confirm that you're almost never going to make that money back from the investment, because by the time you almost do, you're going to invest even more into it, and you're going to be even in the hole deeper. But the purpose that you're investing in it is not just to make the money back at this point. The purpose is to make permanently lasting damage increase through the Legion artifact, the Legion champion system, right? So that your main character can get more stronger with that investment that it could directly investing it into your main. That's what you want to compare it to.
Yeah.
Does that round that out?
That really paints the picture here. So I hyperburned the Demon Avenger here. It's just a random question, I guess. I was wondering it's a big change. I heard Demon Avenger is really good for early mid boss mules, and I'm thinking of swapping some characters out that I don't like of my bossing mule, I guess.
Yep, that's good. Yeah. Always swap out what you don't like, because every week is going to be torture. Don't invest too much. See if you like the bossing first. If you like it, invest more. If you don't like it, drop it. Move on to another one. Don't torture yourself. 100%.
And I was just wondering, the damage taken by the boss is very different in terms let's say there's 20% HP pattern coming. You have to calculate how much damage that is, and I was wondering if there's a chart where I can see this mechanic of the boss does this much damage to you or something like that, so that I can transition into learning Demon Avenger better, because I've been looking through the Demon Avenger Discord, but I haven't I don't know if I'm just not looking at the right places, but I haven't having a hard time finding.
I see what you mean.
Yeah. And
it's just that everything that would kill you. So you're playing in Frenzy on all the time, or most of the time?
Yeah, I'm planning on doing 30 Ruined Force Shield route.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah.
that's my plan. Yeah, but
Yep.
and see
Yeah,
how
you can
that
plan for
goes.
that, but whether you're gonna get one is
Yeah, and then like
the
if I
tricky
get
part.
used to it, I'll drop to 29. But like for
Yeah.
now, I think, and given how bad my hands are, I don't know if I can do
Yeah.
29 for
Well,
shield. But
as someone with professed bad hands as well, you do get used to it. It's just a lot of dashing, so I like to use the demon. Is it called Demon Strike? Just like the regular rush
Mhm,
skill, right? I like to use that one a lot, just to like dash through the boss. You still stay close.
mhm.
You still hit it with frenzy all the time. You just have to be cognizant. Like you can still get so like familiars, lifesteal familiars basically don't do fuck all for you, right? Because every
Mhm.
source of healing heals you for only 1% of your max HP where they would otherwise. So like potions, even if you can't use a potion, you'll just get 1% HP healing. Doesn't help you at all.
Yeah.
Like it's just a waste to use those. So for all of your healing, you basically rely on two things, which is Overload Release and
Yeah.
Blast. Demonic
Yeah.
Blast, right? So Blast
Mhm.
is really just kind of useless for damage. You really just want to look at that only as a survival tool. And for
Yeah.
that, there's two specific things. Is the timing of Blast to make sure that the incoming damage is going to get reduced incoming damage, right?
Yeah.
So like
Royal
extra 30.
Royal Guard. Yeah.
Yeah, kind of like that. But also, if Blast hits a target, you get lifesteal from the hit. And then the hit
Mhm.
plus the damage reduction will allow you to tank really big hits accumulated with the damage reduction from Frenzy. So you're going to have
Right.
Blast reduction, Frenzy reduction, and then your
Mhm.
base HP plus the healed HP, and that'll allow you to tank really big hits. So for example, if you're doing slime, like Sea Slime, you probably, I don't know if you're going to go up to that point, right? But like for Sea Slime, you can stay in Frenzy, be on 30% HP, and then right before the laser hits you, just pop Blast, get the heal, get the extra life reduction, and you'll be able to tank the laser from Slime. That's how big that chunk
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
So everything
Yeah.
below
It's like.
that, everything below
Mhm.
laser of slime, you will also be able to survive that way. Everything
Mhm.
above that, you basically just have to dodge. So everything that's like a one shot will be one shot for everyone. So you
Oh
can't like
yeah.
tank that or anything. It's not like
Mhm.
with Kaiser or with Mihail or with Paladin that you can just take like 100% damage things, because they will only hit you for 90% and you'll be
Mhm.
full HP, because you don't have that base full HP to tank off of,
Mhm.
right? If you could somehow artificially boost yourself up to like having 90% HP, then you could tank things that would do up to like 160% HP or something, and you could be able to tank
Yeah.
those. But it just doesn't work like that, because your base HP is too low, and you want your base HP to be low because then you get
Mhm.
more final damage, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, that's
Yeah. Like
the
it was just a lot
there's
of.
no like list, but if there's a certain boss, I can tell you like what's going to be dangerous. But anything that one shots anyone is going to one shot you still. But
Yeah, for sure.
for
Yeah.
the big hits, because you're playing like high risk with medium rewards basically, or like slightly above average rewards depending on the content. Anything that hits you harder than like a slime laser, you're not going to be able to tank even with a perfectly timed blast that hits the target as well and gives you the lifesteal. It's still going to get you
Mhm.
in trouble. So a lot of it is like jump gliding through the target, up jumping over things, rushing away from the danger, getting behind the boss. A lot of it is about timing and positioning.
Okay, yeah. No, like it was like almost overwhelming. Like, okay, there's damage reduction on the demon blast, and then there's damage reduction on frenzy. So how much
Hmm.
damage does XYZ do? Then I have to calculate all that into it, and it's just like that's too much math, man. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, yeah, you also gotta just learn through experience. You're like, okay, I timed this perfectly, and I still got fucking domed, so I need to dodge this thing. Like, it's just not,
yeah,
apparently doesn't work. Yeah.
mhm.
I
Yeah.
know high
I'm just.
level DAs also put like all of their decent skills on manual so that they can time when to do it, so they don't put themselves at kill percentage when those things,
Right. Yeah.
synchronize and like all activate at the same time, just eat up your
Mhm.
HP. So, and if you're in
Oh. Mhm.
danger or they're in a dead phase, you can always go out of frenzy, full heal, go back into frenzy. Activating frenzy will
Right.
still
Right.
drop you 30% HP, but at least you'll be at 70% instead of at 30%,
Mhm.
which is quite a nice buffer
Yeah.
to have. And overload release will bring your life steal back up. So if your HP goes down too low, your frenzy stops working, then you lose that damage from that. So make sure you use overload release whenever you have
Right.
max stacks, or whenever you're about to run out of the buff, or whenever you need to heal. Any of those situations.
Yeah. I noticed that what's that burst skill, that sword that you spawn and then you click it again to like that goes like frenzy as well.
Uh, oh,
Dimension sword was it called? I forgot.
Oh, that spins dimensional sword. That one.
Yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
when I noticed that when I'm like buffing up to burst, I guess I don't know if Demon Avenger can consider burst, but as a DPM
Oh
class,
yeah,
but
so
yeah,
bursty. Mm-hmm.
when I do that, I notice that like I run out of HP and I can't
Yes,
buff.
yes, yeah, and then you get hit, and then your HP is too low. You're like, but is that with Revenant as well? You're using Revenant?
Yeah. So I was just wondering,
Yeah,
like, is
yeah.
there
So
like a
this is the
specific way
glory of
you?
the synergy of the kit. Yeah. So when you're using Revenant, you want to get hit because then you deal more damage, and then when you get hit so much you're down at 1 HP, you get more final damage, but then Frenzy stops working, so you lose that damage, and then you also cannot activate your buffs anymore. So now you're just like sitting there and then just doing nothing. That's not good. So for that, you'll want to use Forbidden Contract before you do that. So if you use Forbidden Contract, you don't take any self-damage for a little bit for your own skills that you activate. So you activate Forbidden Contract, then self-buff, then use Revenant, and then everything's already going. And then your HP can go low and you can still activate everything.
Doesn't that make it so that the penalty of the Revenant you'll take the damage from that? No.
It can, but if you make sure that you keep getting hit by everything, your HP will still go down.
Oh,
You don't take damage from your own sources, but still take damage from other sources.
oh,
So
okay.
once
So
everything
like,
is popped, then you start jumping into everything and start getting hit by as many things as possible. Preferably
okay.
with impenetrable skin on, because that gives you knockdown resistance. So you have still control over where you move. So I'll
Oh,
use impenetrable skin together with Revenant to make sure you don't get knocked all over the place.
okay. So the penalty side of the Revenant is like, as long as you're doing damage, like you don't have to worry about it too much, I guess.
So which penalty side are you talking about? Like
Uh,
afterwards, when it's over, the self damage, or
yeah.
yeah, that's going to go through. I believe that goes through even with Forbidden Contract. I would have to double check that, but I believe that's just like a through on penalty. What I like to do is do Revenant and all that stuff first, and
Mhm.
then once I start taking Revenant damage, then do my binds and everything. Because for more DPM, it's not super important, and a lot of the times you can still commit your Dimensional Sword damage even if the
Right.
boss is not bound, because you're staying on top of him with Impenetrable Skill and with Revenant, and you're getting more damage because your HP lower, bloody blah, extra final damage, right? And then once you start taking self-damage and things get a little bit spookier, then I like to use my Bind, or go out of Frenzy if you have to, or use
Okay.
my Origin skill, for like an extra Bind, or use my
Okay.
the Jenny iframe, right? And then stagger all of those so that basically during the entire time that I'm supposed to be taking Revenant damage, the boss actually can't do anything to me because either I'm immune or they're bound. So what are you gonna do?
Okay. Okay. So Forbidden Contract is used before,
Yeah,
like
especially if you're
when
doing
you're
like
buffing.
Vihela or something, you need it there in the setup. Otherwise, you're just killing your character, and then you can't burst anymore. You're like, okay, and now I have 1 HP. Like I can't press any button,
Yeah.
and then you have to use blast to get enough HP to set up your burst, and then you lose blast to counter the hits that might otherwise kill you. And then that's
Right.
why in Vihela or something, I usually don't use Revenant at all. It's probably doable, and I probably could work around it. But at this point, I've gotten like good enough at doing it without Revenant because I don't want to have to deal with all of the self damage afterwards and how much spookier that gets. I like to keep my iframe
Right.
in case there's just a really bad pattern, and the runs are fast enough now for me that I don't have to.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
it's called Limits Surpassed now. Oh, my bad.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they split it up, right? It used to do the damage and the non-self damage and the damage bonus together, but now they split it up into 2 skills so that you can use them separately if you still want
Oh,
the
yes.
damage, but you don't want your HP to start shooting up, right? Because then, yeah, if you use it without Revenant, then your HP is basically going up, except if you use it somewhere where the healing is blocked, like in Vihela, then it's not as much of a double-edged sword, basically.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Thanks for clarifying with Demon Avenger. Thanks.
Yep.
My last question, I guess, is Continuous 5 and Roar 5. Like, I got a couple
Mm-hmm.
Grindstones, and I'm just like,
You've got a couple.
yeah, I had 2 tries at it, so I like gave one on Con 5 and then another on Roar 5, but
Okay.
none of them went. But
Unfortunate.
yeah, I was just wondering, like with the introduction of like Limbo and Extreme Lotus, it looks like DPM is like a bit more favored now than before, whereas before
Yeah,
like
the
Season was
design.
you need to burst kind of thing. So I was just wondering, like, it would be more beneficial for me to go for continuous 5 or
Extreme
roar
Lotus
5.
as well, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll preface it by saying that's 100% probably something feedback like a class Discord can give better than me. My brain, because you're Shadower, will go like overall over everything. It's probably better the Con 5,
Hmm.
unless you know Ckalos is really close for you, and if you get the Roar 5 in your Ckalos burst, actually be big enough to help the party clear that, because then you get into double pieces for Eternal plus chance for boxes, and that's a huge value.
Yeah.
And then that might be more value for your account than being able to do everything a little bit faster. But
Hmm.
on the aggregate, in terms of your total DPM up, I would be surprised if it wasn't Con 5 for a Shadower. I would be really surprised.
Yeah. Yeah, like after Ckalos, like there isn't like burst gated
Not as
uh
much, no.
mechanic, right? Yeah, okay. So because
You have to look
I
at the
think I'm
team
already
comp.
like,
Maybe if you're like
yeah.
building a team comp around like a Kana or something in Limbo, maybe, then your 3 minute might be a bit bigger. But even then,
Yeah,
yeah, I feel like
then
Shadow,
there's so,
yeah,
yeah. Okay,
benefits a
so
lot
I
from
my
Con.
gut
Yeah.
feeling of continuous 5 is
hmm
correct. I was just, yeah, because like,
Yeah, again, I would double check
like,
with Class Discord because there's so much change in meta with masteries and everything. It's hard for me to keep track of 50 characters, and it is a pretty
for
min-maxy
sure, yeah.
thing, so I would double check. Somebody in chat said is 287 Shadow, and they're going for Con 5 as well. I think, I think Shawiko would agree as well, right? Like, if you're on the cusp of like helping your party hit Roar 5, yeah, you get Roar 5 as well. Yeah, I think you will generally go for that as well. But I think after the con, because Ckalos is doable mostly with mechanics and just the right team comp if you have enough power creep. So I don't think that's
Mhm.
enough of a reason to forego the con 5 progress, which would help, like you said, like
Mhm.
especially in Extreme Lotus, in normal Limbo, like in all the other content that will come right after it, and it will speed all the other stuff up a little bit more as well. Which does
Yeah,
mean you probably want to make sure for your drop rate and your Mezzo gear that you have like the one slot available for your rings, right? So if you can switch over and still keep max drop rate, so you don't lose the
yeah,
cont power.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's the change I need to make soon. Still sitting on roll 4 and weapon jump 4, but yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I guess that answers overall questions I had. I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can scroll through things a little bit, see if there's anything else we. How's the black hearts coming? You getting a decent amount of those?
I have like 4, 5-ish stacked. I
Okay.
just popped Blackheart recently because we decided to try a duo Extreme Lotus.
Oh, how did
So
that go?
didn't go that well, not gonna lie.
It's a well. If you said your hands aren't that great, then it's probably a similar experience to mine, where there's some runs where you die out in P2, or you like get into P3 with like 1 or 2 lives max, right?
Yeah, and I think like it was like I think I was sitting at like 52% HP in Maple Scouter, like for Extreme
Mm-hmm.
Lotus.
Yeah, yeah. That's
It's a bit higher now, but with the black card, but like it was like uncomfortable run where like
it's
we have to
56 here.
burst
Yeah.
correctly every time.
Oh yeah,
With
yeah, yeah. Very low error, margin of error. There you go. Yeah.
yeah, and we weren't about that. So,
Gotcha.
but
Yeah.
like I can definitely tell if my Hexa's pushed, I think it's very within reach soon, I
Mm-hmm.
think. So I'm looking forward to that. So I had a wake up call of, oh, I need to work on my Hexa more.
Yeah. You got like 5. Did you redo the Legion grid since then? You got like 5 more buff duration you could
Um,
grab here as well, or I guess like 2 more luck and 3 more buff duration, right? Like cleaning up a little bit. I guess you're making some 250s and the blocks are starting to stick
yeah,
out and everything.
yeah,
It's
yeah. I'll redo that soon, but yeah,
yeah.
not
If
too
it's 1 or
hard.
2, you don't want to do it, and then suddenly you're looking at it, it's like, maybe I should tweak
Yeah,
it a little bit. Now it's getting a little too crazy. It's just all those little things, right? The higher you get, very small changes are gonna all stack
yeah,
up together.
for
The
sure. Yeah,
FAMs are looking pretty nice.
yeah.
Gear Link
Not too
complete.
worried about FAMs as well. I have a Demon Slayer that I'm working from home, so I'm hoping that I can TP farm on the side while I
Gotcha.
not FAMs. Yeah.
Okay, that's solid.
Which is why I've had hybrid lines on my Demon Slayer.
Oh, I got you. Yeah. That makes sense. That's good. Not too many boom pitches, or
Yeah, I boomed ET this event. I had one that popped up right a week before. And CFE is sitting on 22 3 line. Just waiting for that belt and
okay, yeah. Belt would probably push you over then. Level 200, always really big, right?
Yep.
Preferably one more, but I think with a belt, it might be enough to push over. Because your ID is really high, right? So the ID line is basically dead. You got like a 98.2 here, because you get the fam, right?
Yeah.
So that means the set bonus of superiors loses some value there.
Hopefully soon.
Yeah. Yeah, might take forever, might not. Like my I think my arc was my 4th belt that went, and my DA's at 0 out of 7 now. So good times.
Yeah.
Always good times. And the DB. DB's already at 33. Nice. Well, DB combat power is always a little bit inflated because of the Katara, right?
Yeah, I 21 the Sweetwater Katara that I'll be switching.
Nice.
So just waiting for the cubes. Yeah.
Yeah, your DS has the superior ring, the Kana treasure ring, and the superior earring, all without potential essentially. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and the no heart. Did you pick up the extra fairy heart already?
No, I'm picking it up on that character. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that'll be a nice extra boost. With those 4 potentials, probably very quickly get to like 35 to 40. Yeah, I mean, I said it twice, I think. I'll repeat it a 3rd time. It's like skill rings, liberation, and then backup boxes from pugs as much as possible. That's where all the free funding is. And then wherever character gets lucky, that's when you can dump on for an event. And if they don't get lucky, you just try again next event. It's almost weird if the characters go at the same pace. You'd want them to go at kind of different paces. That means that you're probably funding it correctly.
Right. Yeah.
BM. So you're slowly working this way up to 255, and then start in lib, and then slowly up to 260, 6 job kind of thing.
Yeah. My BM's like off event mag potion.
Yeah.
Sucker or
yeah. Yeah. It just sucks up pushes. Yeah.
Yeah, or Monster Park off event kind of thing.
Yeah. Oh, you got the shoulder. Yeah, that's another thing, right? Yeah, if you get a shoulder, you might as well fuck it. Next jump is going to be 21 or nothing, so I might as well try that immediately. If it goes, then I can just skip Abzo. If it doesn't go, then,
Yeah, it actually streaked from 12 to 21 at once. So
there you go. Yes.
Yeah,
sometimes lucky.
Telling me to go arcane.
Yeah, and then because of the set bonus on Abzo, because that's the other thing. Like Abzo is really good. You don't want to undervalue it, but if you can skip it, then 100% do, because it is a whole bunch of money you don't need to spend. But for a lot of people, they don't really need to worry about arcanes, and like you said, like 20 or 21 Abzo is really, really, really good. It's faster, cheaper, and stronger than trying to go into 17 arcanes. It rivals, to some extent, if you're doing 21 Abzo at 19 arcanes. It only gets beaten out by that by just a little bit, but that tends to take way longer and more money. So if you go 20 to 21 Abzo armors and a 17 arcane weapon, you are, again, if you do Liberation, you get the skill rings, you're probably going to be good for soloing C10A like min clear and duoing it like within probably like 10 to 15 minutes per. You probably will be able to, if you invest a little bit into Hexa, get to 265. You'll probably be able to do all of C10A with a duo quite a bit within, or like well within the half hour mark of the link skills. So, the guild skills, I should say. So you should be good. Yeah, I don't see anything else super crazy. Any last thing that comes to mind, or any shout out you want to do?
No. Thanks for having a giveaway, and I appreciate your kindness for it, I guess. And yeah, no, it's. I guess like I'm almost like reaching that point where it's late to end game, but still, getting account reviews is nice. Having a new set of eyes on my account. Thanks.
Yeah, I guess endgame keeps just feel like they keep getting pushed further and further away, right?
Yeah, no, exactly. Like last year, I was like, oh, I'm endgame now, I guess, and then I looked at the reboot progression chart you made, and I'm
Like, oh,
somehow at the
never mind.
exact same spot.
Yeah, same for me. I feel like whenever I reach what is endgame, that's probably around the time where endgame is actually starting to move further away again.
Yeah.
I think that how I play is very solidly like the edge of like where late game meets end game, and if I ever get
Mhm.
into that, that's probably when a big adjustment is also on the way, and I think that's good because once you get into
Yeah.
end game, your time loses a lot of value, and
Mhm.
I think a lot of people who get into who like rush through the game and try to get to end game as soon as possible, I think they really quickly find that they start wanting to play other games because now their time has no value whatsoever anymore. You need to farm
Mhm.
1,000 hours and hope that you hit a boss fam, and it's like, what am I doing here? I could be playing an entire other game and finishing it entirely and make so much progress there, or play another character on your account, or
Yeah.
set a different
Yeah.
goal.
Yeah. Even though, you're a streamer and you play a lot of MapleStory, like in terms
Hmm.
of like progression goals and like the opportunity cost, I think you're very, for my playstyle, like very realistic goals. I guess
Hmm.
not through the Legion, like the Horizon wise horizontally, but
Hmm.
for
Hmm.
one character, I think you have like a really good matching
Yeah,
like
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, and
yeah.
even if I spend a lot of hours, I'm not efficiently spending them towards progressing into endgame.
Yeah.
Like if I do all of my dailies on stream, I probably take about 3 times as long as I do if I do them off stream because I'm just chatting and getting
Yeah, yeah.
distracted and looking at random shit that people are showing or answering questions, right? And then the amount of time I effectively am playing and progressing in the game is probably about I would say somewhere about like 35% of the time that I'm actually live. But I'm okay with
Mhm.
that because my goal is not to be the biggest, baddest, strongest character that there ever was. My goal is to
Yeah.
help people out who are struggling or are stuck somewhere. So that's where I like to spend 65 to 70% of my time. Like that's my goal. And then in the background, there's me progressing on Maple. So yeah, I almost
Yeah.
want it to not be purely just like end game stuff because other people already are doing that.
Yeah. And
the
even
niche is
like
already filled.
and I
Hmm.
feel like you're much more relatable than watching people like mid clear and like
I I see some people do
yeah,
stuff. I'm
like
like, how they have
yeah,
like
like
100%. They have like 98%, and they clear the boss, and I'm like, bro, I need 155%. Okay, otherwise
yeah,
I'm not clear that shit. Like, there's no way.
yeah, it's
Yeah, no,
very
there's just
relatable.
not.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I want to blame it all on ping, but it's just like I'm old and I've never had good reaction speed or like gamer sense stuff. I've never had that. So it's not going to start coming out suddenly once you've reached 37 years old that suddenly you're going to get better at video games. I don't think that's how that works.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, hopefully it helps you out to set your course and your direction for your account.
Yeah, thanks. This will be uploaded on YouTube as well, right?
Yeah. I have the last one was already uploaded, but it wasn't really. It was like uploaded, but not live yet, so I still have to do that. But yeah, usually
Oh,
upload it on the same evening when I yeah. If you want to watch it back, yeah, I usually like clip it and then upload it like at the evening after the stream, and then the next day, if I don't already have other uploads going on, the next day I'll just like add the timestamps and everything that I have, and just like push it live
yeah,
on
for
YouTube.
sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, thanks.
it
I
should be there
just
tomorrow.
there were a lot of information thrown out there at
Mm-hmm.
times, and
Yeah.
not redigesting it is good. So
Yeah,
yeah.
like mulling it over a little bit, or like,
Mhm.
what's the word that people ruminating, right? Ruminating a little bit,
Yeah.
and then coming back to it the next day. Yeah, that helps
Yeah.
sometimes. Yeah, no
Yeah,
worries.
appreciate it.
I'll get that out there.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you so much.
All right, you're welcome.
Have
Have a good
day.
one.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Happy New Year's. Yeah.
Yes, you too. All right, bye bye. Okie dokie. So yeah, that was another session that I gave away through YouTube. If you want to win a session as well, make sure you keep an eye on YouTube around the middle of the month, so like the 15th of the month. I usually post a giveaway on the YouTube channel, and you are free to reply with your Discord name, and then I will draw random winners, however many I want. Usually 2. If I'm feeling generous, sometimes it's 3, sometimes it's 4. Just free sessions that I give away, and then you guys can have these kind of sessions with me to help you progress through the game. Or maybe it's some specific bossing tips, or it's something else, or it's just deciding what do I even want to main, what's my goal, how How many hours do I have? How much time do I have? There you go. Anything like that that's relevant for your life. Maybe Maple related, hopefully, a little bit, you know, make it palatable for the audience. But yeah, hopefully this was at least somewhat informational and or entertaining. I was hoping to keep that one away. To you watching this video, if you don't want to wait until the giveaway, make sure you check the description of the video, or you check over in Twitch, twitch.tv/Scardor. I stream there every day. Make sure you check !coaching to see how you can request direct coaching with me as well, so you don't have to wait as long. Goodwin, thank you for a gift sub. Appreciate it. Oh, that was you from the session. Thank you, thank you. Oh, look at that. You gifted a sub as well. Appreciate it. But yeah, check out one of the other sessions. Leave any feedback you think is relevant for this session. Maybe something I got wrong, or something that you want any kind of clarification on. Or if you want live feedback on any question or comments you have, find me over at Twitch. That's twitch.tv/Scardor. I stream there pretty much every day. So you can find me there about 1/3 of the time. I'll be live there, so be a pretty good chance. We didn't open any commands with any crazy stuff, but I have about 300 commands in my channel as well that you can use with information about the game to help clarify certain topics that might be or may not be helpful for you. You know, whatever you need to know information on. But feel free to use those as well. Those are always available even when I'm offline. So maybe I'll see you there. Thanks for watching, and see you on the next video or at Twitch when I'm streaming.